they facilitated or somewhat facilitated the Morsi elections. What's the guarantee? Or let me put it this way. What's the guarantee that another member of the Muslim Brotherhood will not be elected?
Well, depending on the kind of mobilization capacity which the groups have. If they allow the Muslim Brotherhood to be able to mobilize again and then get one of them, but I don't see it happening again.
If one is elected and he goes through the same process that Morsi went through, do you see this happening again?
No, there will be difference in response. Difference in response is that except the one that is going to come now, the the brotherhood that is coming now is going to say, okay, I'm going to repeat what Morsi did. But if he's coming, he will have learned one or two lessons from the Morsi experience. You understand? So, different situations, different attitude, different responses to whatever will happen. So if that is not a process one is advocating. You understand? It's not a process one is advocating. But once in a while when it happens, you examine critically the scenarios that have made it possible, that have brought it up. And then you see if there is justification. What we are doing is, can we justify this particular situation? We are not saying that we should set a bad precedent, that it should be a kind of precedent for other removals, subsequent removals.
But that's what I heard the people are saying. I mean, this is not just for Egypt, this is also for democracies around the world. Are you saying that this is a justifiable precedent? You know, if you're not satisfied with your leader, rather than wait for the ballot box for the next elections, or in some cases, as they do in parliamentary system, you know, they pass a vote of no confidence and maybe another government is constituted within the party that won. Are you saying that all of these processes should be jettisoned and somehow the military should come in and, you know, say the people don't want you anymore? Is this allowed?
No. Two scenarios have made this possible. Two scenarios. One, the Syrian debacle. Then two, the domestic occurrences, the domestic events. And that's the justification I'm saying now. I do not know if in future, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, these two scenarios will unfold again or will happen or recur again. One, as far as I'm concerned, personally, I would not want a slide or, you know, of this Egyptian crisis into that Syrian kind of saga. I would not want a slide. So I personally prefer this because of the Syrian situation. Two, because of the economic problems those people are going through and based on the massive mobilization that the people did and the outcry, which I knew that ordinarily if this had not happened, so many things will have happened. A sectarian conflict will have arisen. Massive killing of innocent people will have arisen. But now we have been able to prevent maybe about 3 or 4 deaths, you know, when we had the first clash. So we have been able to prevent or limit this. But for any scenario like this to happen again, I would not think that it will be justified. Okay. But I don't know if what had necessitated the circumstances that made this possible will be responsible for whatever we are contemplating again.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We're speaking to Mr. Dakwar Thomas, the International Relations Analyst. Thank you for coming on the program. Sunrise Daily will continue in a moment. Don't go away. We'll continue our focus on the situation in Egypt and the developments there. And we're being joined at this point by Professor Akin Oyebode, Professor of International Law from the University of Lagos. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Prof, this happened a couple of days ago. What's your reaction?
Well, I think the military had to step in to save Egypt from collapse. Chaos was threatening, and the Muslim Brotherhood threatened to go for broke. So, and the more than 20 million signatories to the petition to change the government thought they had to draw the line on the sand for the Brotherhood. And so the soldiers who had a bad reputation, you know, they had a coup, 1952, which brought in NASA. And the last time when Mubarak was given the boot, the soldiers took over and mishandled the situation, so much so that they were forced out. So the military are being cagey and careful in order not to blow whatever support they were trying to get from the Egyptian people. So you can see that their moves are very calculated. They didn't want it to look like an out-and-out coup. But it's not a question of nomenclature. In jurisprudence, we say that whenever a drastic change has been brought into the polity outside of the contemplation of that constitution, it amounts to a revolution. So people might go out, the jury might still be out on whether it's a coup or it's a revolution, or in fact it's a continuation of the Egyptian revolution. But it's still an unfolding scenario. So we have to await the outcome of the debacle. But I think so far so good. There's been tremendous support throughout the Arab world, except in Syria, and all that. But I think by and large, because of the role Egypt plays in the Arab world, is the epicenter of Arab civilization. So because of that, everybody is hoping that this time around, the country will survive the crisis.
Now, one would think that since he was democratically elected, 20 million signatures should have stopped him in his tracks to maybe look back and say, okay, what am I doing wrong? How do I make amends? Or how do I appeal to the people to let me finish up my tenure?
Well, don't forget that he wasn't elected by a landslide, okay? The turnout was low, and he just made it. He merely made it. And it's a pity Morsi has been toying with power. The way he confronted the courts last year, and he's alienating government, which has not carried everybody along, has created a groundswell of opposition, a latent opposition, which has now surfaced. So despite the fact that he has an American education, he has a doctorate from